Vegas.
Hello and welcome to Round 2 coverage here at Grand Prix Las Vegas. I'm Brian David Marshall in the booth with the man who humped the world, Paul Cheon, and the man who is more selectively humpy, Rich Hagon.
Hello.
Guys, we are looking at Jordan Wines versus Ben Bateman. There you see Ben on the right. He is, of course, one of the masters of modern. He does a podcast about the modern format. There you see him updating his followers that he is indeed in the feature match area and going to be on camera.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And a little handshake before the game. We're still waiting to get all our deck archetypes and everything in. Turns out with the 2,700 deck list, it's quite a ordeal to sort through them.
Yeah, our showrunner Mark Calderero still got 38 decks to check through.
I do see a Heritage Druid in Jordan Wine's hand, so he has to be on elves over there. But on the right side, what do we got? Ooh, I see
Teferi. Oh boy, we got a control player.
Good enough for modern. Look at that.
Now what? Oh, I also see a Saheeli Rai on the bottom.
I
deck.
did not expect to see that. I thought it was just going to be your typical Jeskai control deck. But seeing that Saheeli makes me think that probably he's playing some Felidar Guardians in here.
Wow. So we're going to see a Jeskai Planeswalker-y deck that basically is trying to recreate Splinter Twin.
Right.
Where you just get to make infinite copies of a creature
right.
that all have haste and you get to attack with
exactly. And this is slightly more vulnerable. The strength of the Splinter Twin deck was the fact that you could just play everything at instant speed. But with the Saheeli, you have to kind of tap out and play it. And so, you do give your opponent a window where you can actually disrupt them.
But again, in these Jeskai colors, you tend to also have the ability to just play a control game.
Right.
And just eventually grind the game out with your Planeswalkers.
Exactly.
You don't necessarily just have to kill them with the combo kill.
Yeah, sometimes you just play Saheeli Rai, you copy a Wall of Omens, get some extra value there. But, outside of that, Ben's probably just playing, a ton of just good removal. The Jeskai deck does have access to kind of the best removal spells in the format.
All right, but you know what? We're going to see an elf deck here, and here we see Heritage Druid.
Oh, wow. This is so much mana.
2 Nettle Sentinels.
So there's 2 mana floating here, but, nothing to follow up here. So, oftentimes, you have a lot of good 3 mana payoffs here in the elf deck. You have cards like the Elvish Archdruid, along with Izuri. But currently, we don't see any of those in play. But, Collected Company is also a common card that's played. Lead the Stampede, so maybe Jordan has something like that.
Yeah, Nettle Sentinel, a card that does not untap unless you play a green spell.
Right. So, yeah, the combination of Nettle Sentinel and Heritage Druid is incredibly powerful, as it just gives you access to so much mana.
And Ben, as we said, there you go. It's called Copycat Combos. That's his deck. And he's seen enough modern decks to know I'm going to kill that Heritage Druid.
Right. But Jordan still has, come off to a pretty explosive start here. Turn 2, look at all the permanents he has on the battlefield. He's just clocking Ben for 5 damage here. Or no, 6 damage.
Right. Those Nettle Sentinels are 2/2s.
Yeah.
And Pseudo-Vigilant if you have another
card
to follow up with.
Every single card in Jordan's deck is green, so.
You see a Wall of Omens was in Ben's hand, card you mentioned earlier.
Right.
All right. Jordan just attacks for 4 here.
So this tells me that Jordan is holding up some kind of instant speed spell here. Collected Company or Court of Calling are the things that I would have thought about. Although if he had those cards, I think I might have considered playing it main phase. Ben doesn't have the ability to play, a Supreme Verdict this turn. And if he does that, he might have been able to hit a card like an Elvish Archdruid, which would have pumped his Nettle Sentinels. So
there's the Wall of Omens.
Trying to figure out what he might be looking to play here. I could see maybe a Court of Calling, but
also plays the Celestial Colonnade tapped. But yeah, we're going to see Court of Calling for 2 here. That's also going to untap his Nettle Sentinels.
Yeah, it's like 3 is the sweet spot though, because 3 gives you a lot of those payoff cards. 2 gives you the Dwinnen's Elite, which is a little less powerful. Yeah. That's really interesting, because one thing that Jordan could have also done is use the Court of Calling, tap the Nettle Sentinels to get out a bigger threat, and then with the Court on the stack, of course the Nettle Sentinels triggers will happen, and you could still attack with the Nettle Sentinels. So he could have gotten a bigger creature this turn, but you know, this is still reasonable. You know, this really still puts a lot of pressure on Ben Bateman. He does need to have, you know, a good suite of removal here because Jordan currently has 9 power on the battlefield.
Yeah, and things that Jordan is going to try to win with include just Shaman of the Pack.
Right. Yeah, that's a nice way to finish off the opponent. But
you can also sort of overrun over, as you mentioned a couple times with Azuri.
Yep. And there's also a card that I honestly do not know what it does.
Is that Throne of the God Pharaoh?
It's Throne of the God Pharaoh.
So Throne of the God Pharaoh is going to do damage to your opponent equal to the number of tapped creatures at the end of the turn.
Ah, okay.
It is from Amonkhet.
That is
it's loss of life. I'm sorry, it's not damage.
That is actually awesome with both Heritage Druid and Court of Calling.
Yeah.
Is this from just before you started making all of the Magic cards yourself, Paul?
Oh, by the way, there's a Shaman of the Pack.
Oh, right off the top. How much damage is that?
That's 7. And that's going to drop Ben to 2. Can he find a Supreme Verdict right here?
He has to have a sweeper here at this point. I mean,
he does have the ability to Lightning Helix with a Snapcaster Mage here, get himself back up to 5.
So that
have 2 blockers.
Yeah, and he would still take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage.
Yeah.
If he did that. So I don't think that's enough.
And then you know, we don't even know, as we're looking at the deck list right now, if there is a Wrath main deck for Ben Bateman, who's playing a deck that they call the Kessel Run. It is co-designed with his podcast mate Alex Kessler.
Okay, and by the way, Ben is not actually all in on the Saheeli combo. I think he has it in there just for a little bit of spice, because looking at his list, he's got 1 Saheeli and 1 Felidar Guardian in his deck. He's also got Kiki-Jiki with Restoration Angel, so he's got a little bit of everything. He's got multiple ways to infinite combo you.
All right, well, here goes. He passes the turn back to Jordan Wines. He is at 2 life, maybe hoping that Jordan doesn't attack with everybody, but he does.
Yep.
And so Ben has to think about, you know, whether or not he wants to put this
classic attack with everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Snapcaster Mage can get back the Lightning Helix. That represents, you know, takes out 1 creature in combat, takes out another creature in combat, gains another 3 life. That takes out another creature.
Right.
So that's 3 gone, functionally.
Yes.
Yeah. So get rid of the 3 biggest creatures on the battlefield, right? We have the 3/2, 2 Nettle Sentinels, and Ben would go up to 5 life. And then he can still get in with the 2/2 and 3 1/1s, so that would still get in for lethal damage.
Yep.
Yeah, so this Lightning Helix will put Ben Bateman up to 5. He's going to use that on, you know, one of the 2+ power creatures on the battlefield. I imagine now he's going to put the Snapcaster Mage in front of Shaman of the Pack, Wall of Omens in front of Nettle Sentinel, and yeah, this is exactly lethal.
Yeah, and he's just doing the math here. He still had to go through the motions. But that is, yep, he's going to pick up his cards, and Jordan Wines with Elves, with a huge chunk of life coming from that Shaman of the Pack, is able to finish off the game. This is a deck that has multiple ways to win, and it's really difficult to fight if you don't have a sweeper.
Yeah, you definitely need to have a sweeper. And Jordan also just came out firing, right? He played like his entire hand basically on turn 2. And then not only that, I mean, I think actually if he doesn't draw that Shaman of the Pack, Ben might have a reasonable chance, because he did have a good curve himself. Think about it this way. He played Lightning Helix, excellent card against aggressive decks. Then he played a Wall of Omens, great blocker. Then he went Snapcaster Mage Lightning Helix, and it still wasn't good enough.
Right. Worth mentioning, that was turn 4 of the game. Right. It's not like anybody missed a drop there or anything like that. You see Ben just like, he's like, all right, let's go.
Good beats.
Does have some sweepers in his board that he can bring in here.
Yeah, he's got a Wrath of God and a Supreme Verdict, which I imagine is coming in. Probably looks to take out some number of counter magic, as the Elves deck kind of is very good at just emptying out its hand very, very early. So, you know, I see a couple of Spreading Seas also that are kind of slow. Could see him board out something like that. You know, I actually do like keeping the combo, though, because the Elf deck has very little disruption. So, you know, you can just get your opponent that way, too. And there's plenty of cards that I think you could look to board out.
So if you just mize any 2 combo pieces, you can just win?
Yeah, yeah. So, you know, Felidar Guardian with the Saheeli, and, of course, he's also got the the Restoration Angels with the Kiki-Jiki Mirror Breaker. And the Elf deck, of course, has far fewer options here. Going up against control deck, it doesn't look like he has enough black mana to actually, he's not playing any hand disruption or anything like that. He's got a couple of copies of Stain the Mind, which I suppose he could look to board in. But I'm not sure he's going to do that. I think he honestly is going to play the game where, it's like, I'm going to play out my stuff and hope you don't have a sweeper. He's got a couple of copies of Lead the Stampede in the sideboard, which go in. That card is very, very good against mid-range matchups because I've seen that card draw up to 4 or 5 cards sometimes. You can go nuts, or 4 cards rather.
So Stain the Mind is a Convoke card, 4 and a black. You name a non-land card, you search target player's graveyard, hand, or library for any number of cards with that name and exile them. I don't think that's
that's not
going to be a good target here against
Right.
Ben, who has many, many different routes to victory.
Yeah, I think that's probably for like the Krark-Clan Ironwork deck.
Yeah, seems great in that matchup.
Yeah, for sure.
So is that what we call diversification of threat? Is that roughly what's going on with Ben? All the different routes to victory?
No, I think Ben is just playing with cards he likes. That's what I'm going to go with
Oh,
here.
okay.
No. The thing is, like, a lot of these cards just in a vacuum are just powerful, and he just kind of decided, hey, I want to, I want to do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. It's not like, I don't think he like actively is playing around Stain the Mind.
This doesn't look very different than maybe an old Pestermite combo deck, which might have had both combos in it as well, with some some discrete numbers. And it's just it is to some extent spread out across. I've talked to multiple people who were like, oh, I made a change to my deck. I went from 2 Supreme Verdicts to a Supreme Verdict and a Wrath, because of the humans decks. People are really worried just about Meddling Mage.
Mm-hmm.
They need to have some way to get around cards that are in play, naming something that makes it difficult for them to do stuff. They just don't want as many redundant cards.
Yeah, and honestly, if Ben is looking to, I think mostly he's looking to combo off with the Kiki-Jiki Mirror Breaker. And if you think about it, I mean, he's playing the full 4 copies of Restoration Angel. So Felidar Guardian, you could kind of see it as like a poor man's Restoration Angel. It's like Restoration Angel number 5, right? Because you can still combo off with the Kiki-Jiki, right? And then you can also use it to blink your Wall of Omens, your Vendilion Clique, your Spreading Seas, and get some value that way as well.
All right, Flooded Strand leads things off for Ben Bateman.
Is this just a... Oh, okay, so I'm assuming this is a Serum Visions, given that he's just cracking it on his main phase.
Yeah, it goes and gets a regular island. Now, do you think that is a nod to how much explosive damage can come out of the Elf deck, that he goes and gets an island there, as opposed to, the fetch shock?
Yeah,
go to 17.
Yeah, it's really interesting, like how and when you choose to fetch shock. It really depends on your hand, because this is a Jeskai deck and it is pretty like mana intensive, right? You're playing a card like Kiki-Jiki in your deck, along with Wrath of God and Logic Knot. So the mana is rough. So oftentimes, I have had Serum Visions in my hand and not even cast it turn 1 and look to get that shock land against an aggressive deck, because it's really important to like try to preserve your life total as much as you can.
When you say getting that shock, you mean like at the end of their turn, have it come into play tapped.
Exactly.
Don't Conley Woods yourself, untap, and then do something.
Yeah, unless he has he has some sideboard strategy where he's bringing in a bunch of Death Shadows or something. But Cavern of Souls, also another reason to take out your counter magic.
Sure.
But Ben could have also been just digging for disruptive elements here.
Shocks himself here now.
Yeah, always bolt the bird, bolt the elf.
Yep.
Yep. That's
there
just
we go.
Rule number 1. Always get the mana creature.
Which is really a full-time job against this deck.
Yes. Yeah, the Elf deck can definitely overload on mana creatures. You have, of course, Elvish Mystic and Llanowar Elf for redundancy, and the Heritage Druid as well.
There's 2 Heritage Druids. And Ben's going to be hard-pressed to kill both of those.
Yeah, unless he's playing Electrolyze. This would be the best Electrolyze ever if he had it.
This is what former World Team champions dream about. Electrolyzing 2 Heritage Druids.
Oh, my goodness, yeah. Who doesn't dream about that, though? Let's be real. Getting 2 creatures with Electrolyze is one of the greatest things you can do in Magic.
Yeah, especially 2 creatures that are so central to your engine.
Yeah, so Ben here does have a removal spell in the Lightning Helix. The reason why he chose not to fire it off here is he's waiting to see what elf Jordan plays on the battlefield, because that Heritage Druid doesn't actually do anything unless you get that third elf on the battlefield. So if Jordan here now opts to play a card like an Elvish Archdruid or an Azuri, he might want to use the Lightning Helix on that.
Well, there's a Shaman of the Pack.
So he's going to wait for the trigger here to go on the stack, probably, unless he wants to just get rid of like a Heritage Druid to prevent mana. And I think that's actually what he's looking for. He's tapping.
Yeah, he has Snapcaster in hand, so he's going to actually do that and bring back the Lightning Bolt and take out one of the Heritage Druids here.
Yeah, and I like this play. Given that he has a Snapcaster Mage, he can just use a Snapcaster Mage to block Shaman of the Pack. So he just really wants to slow down Jordan as much as he can, because Ben does have a much more powerful late game.
And still gets to keep that Lightning Helix in reserve here. Yeah. Maybe throw off Jordan's math at a key juncture.
Yeah. Yeah, and having that early removal was so key here, because it did really slow Jordan down a bunch. I mean, look at the start that Jordan got off to that first game, right?
Now, do you think Ben is if Jordan just passes the turn here without anything epic going on, he's just going to take out that Heritage Druid?
Yeah, I think it's important to try to utilize your mana where you can. And I do see a Teferi in Ben's hand, so if he doesn't have another removal spell, I could see him maybe sitting on that Lightning Helix, because if you're going to play the Teferi, you do have the 2 mana available to cast the Lightning Helix as well.
Right. So the real power of that card, where you'll hear players talk about Teferi costing 3.
Right. Yeah, and it does effectively cost 3. In Standard, there's not as many things you can do with 2 mana up, but in Modern, there is a lot, right? You have the Bolt, you have the Path to Exile, you have Lightning Helix. There's just so many things you can do.
Here's a Kitchen Finks, and I have to imagine that this is not a card Ben cares about at all.
Right. So the reason why Jordan, brought in the Kitchen Finks here, it's not an elf, but it is a resilient creature. A lot of Ben's removal spell is in the form of burn. So cards like Lightning Helix and Lightning Bolt mean that Ben has to use 2 removal spells to deal with that Kitchen Finks. Of course, Path to Exile is still a pretty good answer, but there's only oftentimes your Path to Exiles are pretty taxed.
So now we're going to see Lightning Helix, and you think he's going to take out that other? Well, he's really torn here.
I think he's going to go for an elf here,
but he's torn between the Heritage Druid and the Shaman of the Pack.
Yeah, that is true. I might have looked to take out one of the bigger creatures here, because especially if you're looking to play a Teferi here, you want to protect that, and the Heritage Druid does a really poor job of actually pressuring that Teferi. Unless
he does have another Snapcaster Mage in hand.
Right. Although if you play a Teferi and then you untap 2 mana, playing a Snapcaster Mage as an Ambush Viper is not really the thing that you necessarily want to be doing. Unless you're Gabby Sparks.
Are those 2 not similarly powerful?
Yeah. Well, hey, look, once Teferi gets going, you're going to be up so many cards. So maybe it's not the end of the world that you do that.
All right. Well, here come Kitchen Finks and Shaman of the Pack.
There it is.
There you see Ambush Viper. I think what we might be seeing here is Restoration Angel.
Ooh. Could see that, although he doesn't have the mana to... So he can use a Restoration Angel on the Snapcaster Mage. If he does it in main phase, he does have access to that Serum Visions, but if he wants to use it on the Lightning Helix, he does need to wait an additional turn. He might not actually have a 5th land for the Teferi.
Right. So what he might be doing, what he might be just doing here is this going to be Snapcat? No, it's going to be Restoration Angel, and he's just going to ambush a creature here. He's going to get no extra value off of it.
Okay, right.
He's like, I blink my Snapcaster.
Yeah, I'm just playing my 3/4 flash, and the elf deck is almost certainly not going to have a way to actually deal with this Restoration Angel.
Very few pump spells is what you're telling me?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Jordan Wines does have a couple of copies of Dismember in his sideboard. That is a card that you could consider, right? Because if you think that they're on the Copycat combo, which Ben showed no signs of being game 1, you could bring the Dismember to kind of break up that combo.
Right. So what ends up happening is Ben Bateman puts the Snapcaster Mage in the way of the Shaman of the Pack, the Restoration Angel ambushes the Kitchen Finks, which then comes back with a -1/-1 counter on it.
Right.
Gains a little bit more life for Jordan, and he's got another Kitchen Finks.
Yeah. Doesn't match up very well against that Restoration Angel. No way to really pump it either. So this Angel's going to do a ton of work, and I would not be surprised if Jordan does opt to bring in the Dismember if he didn't do so already. And now, Ben is kind of firmly in control of this game. He's stabilized with that Restoration Angel. He's in a situation where if he draws a land, he can play that Teferi and to have Teferi take over the game. But if he doesn't draw a land, he's drawing a spell.
Paul, I want to ask you about land on the right-hand side of the board. Traditionally, control decks want to play a land every turn, and roundabout when you see that they've got 9 land untapped, 11 land untapped, you think, oh yeah, firmly in control. 4, though, in Modern is plenty, is it?
Well, especially when you're playing the control deck, 4 is like the magic number. There are so many great 4-drops you can play in the control deck. You know that basically, if you don't have a good enough board presence against a blue control deck and it's turn 4, you know you're in a lot of trouble. They could have Wrath of God. They could have Jace the Mind Sculptor. They could have Restoration Angel. They could have Cryptic Commit. They could just have anything. And at this point, Jordan's just like, all right, let's just go through the motions here. But I mean, Jordan could have something like a Collected Company here. Which would be huge if Ben doesn't have...
All right, here we see a Snapcaster Mage, Lightning Helix. He's going to take... He's trying to decide whether he wants to kill the one that already has the -1/-1 counter. I mean, it's a little bit of 6 of one, half dozen of another here.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I think he's probably looking to block with the Snapcaster Mage, and if you want to do that, you might as well just get the bigger creature off the board in case Jordan has some weird removal spell, right? And the 3/2 Kitchen Finks can get in for an extra point of damage, but I don't think it really matters here.
Right. So I can tell you, by the way, Ben Bateman, he lives in Hollywood. He's a Hollywood reporter guy, an entertainment
Kind of
reporter.
looks like one.
Yeah, he's got the pocket square there.
Yeah.
He looks like he takes a meeting.
Yeah.
Jordan Wines is from Reno, Nevada, but he is a movie podcaster. So these guys actually kind of a nice serendipitous pairing for them.
Right.
They both podcast about movies, and they both like Modern.
Both in the entertainment industry.
Well, there is Collected Company.
Yeah, and Jordan decides to do this main phase to play around counter magic.
Yeah, worried about those islands, as you should be. Heritage Druid and Shaman of the Pack, and that gets it 2 damage there against Ben's life total.
Yeah, but Jordan really needs to still find a way to, stick one of those payoff 3-mana elves in his deck. He's got to get an Azuri or an Elvish Archdruid, and he also needs them to stick. Ben Bateman has a grip full of spells here.
Yeah, well, he'd like to shuffle one of those back for a 5th land if possible.
Right.
Someone in chat, tell me this is not set up for a joke. I actually want to know, what are those creatures in the Art of Collected Company? What creature type is that? Anyone know? Is there an official answer?
I believe those are all shield bearers from Visions.
Okay, I'm going to let Brian answer this one.
They have banding, and I'm going to let Paul Cheon from Play Design talk about the banding mechanic.
Right. I think one of them is a Tireless Tracker. The other one's a Duskwatch Recruiter.
Inox. Inox. Ainok is by far the most popular answer in chat.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
Wow.
Ben Bateman just he has decided that he is going to be able to continue attacking against Jordan's life total.
Oh, look at this. See? Felidar Guardian effectively gave Restoration Angel Vigilance here, as he does get to basically blink. And now, what does he do? So he's now blinking the Felidar Guardian, which you can use to, I believe, blink a land.
Untap a land,
He might be able to just play an untapped land if he wants. But can they just blink each other indefinitely?
Well, I think a judge would at some point step in, but yes.
Well, what if he has something like a Soul Warden or something in play?
But, no, if there was a Soul Warden, if there was something like that, yes, you could, in theory, just gain infinite life there, right?
Right.
Arbitrarily large.
Yes.
That.
Untaps an island.
Yeah.
So a nice little play from Ben.
And Ben, I mean, this must be like slightly frustrating. He's still in a very good spot, of course, but it's just like, come on, just give me that 5th land so I can just close out the game with the hero of Dominaria.
You see, I think a Dwynen's Elite in hand for Jordan. Yes, it is. So that's going to give him an elf. He's like, by the way, if you want to blink my Shaman of the Pack, I'd be down for that.
Jordan's like, X4 is my only weakness. How did you know?
All right, taps for 3 mana here.
Here we go. It's a Llanowar elf.
Wow.
There it is.
There it is. Throne of the Godpharaoh. That means Ben Bateman is going to take lose 3. He's going to lose 3 life at the end of Jordan's turn.
Okay, so this is a clock. If Jordan finds another elf here, he can tap 6 elves and deal 6 damage a turn to Ben Bateman. So Ben needs to find an answer to Throne of the Godpharaoh.
Amonkhet, the modern powerhouse.
Oh, wow.
Just the way you drew it up, Paul.
Well, there's that 5th land. So Teferi can come down, but are there at time for... Teferi to find any heroics for
Yeah.
Dominaria here?
Well, so Ben does have, we did talk about the Kiki-Jiki, and he's got the Saheeli, so he could be looking to draw that. He does have an extra turn here. He is at 11 life, so next turn he can take 6 damage if Jordan does draw another elf. So I think he's probably looking to now draw into his Kiki-Jiki. But the one of Throne of the God Pharaoh.
Wow, really nice.
It's very, very hard to interact with. Ben is also considering the minus option of Teferi to get that Throne of the God Pharaoh off the board.
And that's what he does.
Right. And now that he's done this, Jordan is now incentivized to send creatures to get that Teferi off the board. And if he does that, of course, he's going to lose a couple of them, but I don't think you want that Teferi to stay on the board for much longer.
And here we see Jordan cracks a Horizon Canopy to draw a card, get himself that much closer.
So I could see a minimum of 3 creatures going at Teferi here. But the attacks are certainly not great.
Oh, look at this. He's going to sack another Horizon Canopy, and that should be his Throne of the God Pharaoh.
Oh, right. Yeah, he cycled through both of them, right?
Yeah. Draw from 2 Horizon Canopies and draw for your turn.
There is the It's back!
And, of course, Ben
still had it.
Ben wasn't able to untap any lands because he had to use that minus ability.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the last card he drew was. If it was an elf, he would certainly play it, and then he can was it enough? I mean, and he might also still be considering getting that Teferi off the board. At the same time, he is pretty close to just finishing off his opponent with Throne. He cannot tap Kitchen Finks here. Is this a Court of Calling?
Oh my gosh, Court of Calling
for a Shaman of the Pack?
This is insane.
That would be.
No, I think this might just be an attack with everybody.
Oh, okay.
He's attacking with
everybody. I thought it was a Court of Calling.
That was super exciting, yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's attacking with everybody at Teferi.
Is it Teferi? Maybe you just go to the face here. Like, if you attack with everything and you lose your 2 big...
I saw him point at the Teferi,
oh, okay.
So it's possible that he is not.
Because he would take 5 damage from the creatures and then take an additional 4 and go down to 2 from the Throne of the God Pharaoh trigger. So it is interesting to consider, what to aim your creatures at.
So Teferi down, Kitchen Finks down, Shaman of the Pack down.
And Ben now
Ben
takes
falls
4.
to 9, and then falls to 5 from the throne.
Oh, so some creatures attack Teferi.
It was a mix, yeah.
Okay.
He spread them out. And then Ben just let...
Is this going to be the game?
What was the draw from Ben?
I see another Teferi, and this one would get that Throne of the God Pharaoh off the board for a few more turns. That would give him some time, and if he does that, even if Jordan chooses to attack with everything, he would only take 2 damage.
Right, and he gets to eat some creatures off the board.
Right, but Jordan does have a lot of cards he could draw still. He can just find Shaman of the Pack here and just win the game. But I think you just have to use this Teferi to get that Throne of the God Pharaoh off the board.
Wow.
How much work is that artifact doing? I thought Jordan was so behind, and this is the one card.
Yeah, this has not been a spectacular draw from him. Oh, yes. Ben Bateman decides to draw a card. He's going to get to untap 2 lands. Wow.
Okay.
And again, maybe he's looking for some way to kill that Heritage Druid. 'Cause again, if he can kill the Heritage Druid, that also does a lot of work for him here.
Yeah. I think I would actually look to Lightning Bolt the Heritage Druid so that Jordan can't just tap his creatures on command to trigger that Throne of the God Pharaoh, because he doesn't really have a great attack here.
Wow. Ben Bateman is at 5. He needs to... Boy.
So currently he can actually tap down all of his elves. He can tap down Heritage Druid, Dwynen's Elite, and the Elf token, right, along with the Llanowar Elves, and that's just 4 damage, right? And what is this? That's an Azuri, I believe.
Oh my gosh. Here comes Azuri.
Now, will Ben choose to fire off a removal spell? I mean, he could use that removal spell on the Azuri here if he wants, but Jordan does not have the mana to actually, activate the Uzuri for. But he can use it. If Uzuri resolves and is on the board, he can use that ability to protect his elves.
Absolutely. I was just going to say you can then pump your team at instant speed.
Right. So what I could see Jordan doing here, I mean, I'm not sure what Ben's going to do. Ben might choose to save the Lightning Bolt for the Uzuri, but he might also just choose to get one of the creatures here. This is a tough spot, very tough spot, but I don't think Ben is dead this turn. So he can kill the Uzuri. Jordan then can tap down his entire team, and if he does that, he would put Ben Bateman down to 1, and then Ben does have a couple of draws at finding a Saheeli or Kiki-Jiki.
He actually kills the Dwynen's Elite with the Lightning Bolt there.
Interesting. So he chose to kill the one creature. Huh. All right, he just killed the biggest creature, I guess, that was currently on the board.
Does he have a Saheeli Rai or another combo piece in hand to just win next turn?
No, I don't think so, because I think he would have just played it last turn. So I think he needs to actually find it.
Kiki-Jiki would also do it for him.
Wow. So yeah, Jordan's gonna tap down the 3 elves just for mana for funsies. Then he's gonna tap the Llanowar elf for mana and just deal 4 damage to Ben Bateman.
Wow, and he gets Ben down to 1.
Right. But keep in mind that gets Ben down to 1. Ben still has active Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. He could use that Teferi to get that Throne of the Godfarer on the board, but given that Ben now goes down to 1 life, Jordan also has the option of just attacking with all of his creatures. All right. Ben can just... No, you don't want to use that Flooded Strand. That one...
Well, I think he wasn't planning it. He was just setting it aside, yes. He's like, no. He's like, this is in the... We need to find a lightning zone.
Are we just drawing to Kiki-Jiki here? Is that really the... What else does he have? Does he have a Snapcaster Mage in hand or anything like that?
He may have a Snapcaster.
Okay, so if he has a Snapcaster Mage plus Lightning Bolt means that he can basically deal with 4 creatures on the board. So he can actually use Teferi, get Throne of the Godfarer off the board, main phase, use Snapcaster Mage to cast Lightning Bolt on the Uzuri, and he should actually be in okay shape.
All right, here goes. He's gonna put the throne back on top.
So, but he does want to main phase this so that Jordan doesn't activate Uzuri and uses the overrun effect, if you will, pumping your entire team by +3/+3 and trample. So I see Snapcaster Mage Bolt on Uzuri here as the thing that Ben needs to do to survive this turn.
All right, here it comes. There is Snapcaster Mage.
And Uzuri
with its natural dance partner.
Right, and Uzuri cannot regenerate itself. It can regenerate other elves. That's very important here.
All right, and there it goes. Down, Uzuri down. Ben has stabilized at 1.
Yeah, but Jordan has some draws here.
A
Shaman of the Pack?
You know, despite what Cersei Lannister says, that when you play the Game of Thrones, you win or die, there is no middle ground. We've found the middle ground. It's 3 cards from the top of your library.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow, passes the turn back.
So nothing.
We're going to get a Teferi activation here. We get 2 draws here for Ben Bateman. We may yet see a Game 3.
All right. Here we go. Lightning Helix, Counter Magic, any of those would work.
Oh, I think he may have left his Logic Knot in.
Oh, no, Counter Magic would not work. Oh, no. It would work against Throne of the Godfarer specifically, not against the Cavern of Souls. All right, so now what are we playing here?
Changing his mana.
It's 3. Okay.
This is it's a Wall of Omens.
He can still find Saheeli here. Okay, so he's got the defenses set up. He could even attack with Restoration Angel here.
And that's what he's going to do. He's got to start whittling away at Jordan's life total.
Right. Ooh, and I think I might have seen a Dispel in hand, which is not a horrible card because Collected Company is a very difficult card to deal with.
Which
and
spell?
There's also, I'm not going to respond to that one, but and then of course the Court of Calling.
All right, well there is Cavern of Souls.
I guess Dispel. Rich.
And Jordan Wines just passes the turn back to Ben Bateman.
Okay, he's still got that Throne of the Godpharaoh in play. But there is that Logic Knot, like you said, and Ben does have a full graveyard. So I think Ben might have stabilized at 1 life.
Wow.
Seems like the correct number to stabilize
and by the way, do you remember what we talked about all the way back on turn 1 of this game? Which was the fetch land for Island.
Right.
And so he could actually use that Serum Visions and not actually shocking himself to do that on turn 1.
Managing and balancing your life total with all the fetches and shocks is so important when you're playing against these creature-based decks.
All right, up ticks Teferi.
Yeah, I don't see a minus here as really an option, so let's see what he finds with this Teferi. I kind of just want to see an infinite combo.
Yeah, same.
Fair. I mean, I think he kind of has this game locked up, unless Jordan draws a Shaman of the Pack, which cannot be countered with Cavern of Souls.
So there's another Wall of Omens.
Could be anything, even another Wall of Omens.
And that's another Snapcaster Mage.
Okay.
So you could Snapcaster for Serum Visions here.
He could. He could also just keep it back for, maybe multiple Logic Knots or something. This Snapcaster Mage attack, sure.
A little aggressive.
Yeah, it is aggressive.
But he knows he has another one.
Right. It doesn't necessarily change the clock here. Jordan can choose to take it, but he can also just... Okay, yeah, so he's choosing to take it here. He values the mana that he could maybe get off that Heritage Druid. And, of course, the Restoration Angel would get Jordan down to 1. It does put Jordan dead to a burn spell, but, I mean, it's really hard for him to beat that anyways. All right.
So he draws his throne. We don't believe it's going to resolve here.
This is getting Logic Knotted for a lot.
And now keep in mind that Jordan can pay a lot.
Right.
Because he does have that Heritage Druid, which
does.
enables him to make 3 extra mana on board in addition to the 3 mana he can make from his land.
So it's possible Ben forgets that. And
It
only
is.
does it for 4.
No.
If he does it for 4.
No.
So he's doing it for 3, but he needs to do it for 7. He needs to do it for 7 here to actually get it to be uncountered. So what is he going to do? How many? Oh, no, it's for 3. He's doing it for 3. Or 4? Oh, no. Okay. Yeah. He sees it. Never mind. Whew.
Okay.
Paul was having Hazoret flashbacks there.
Oh, my goodness. Not again. Not like this.
All right. So now that threat has finally been dealt with. There's still the matter of, can Jordan just draw a single copy of Shaman of the Pack?
Right. Shaman of the Pack is still uncounterable. Jordan still has that card to draw if Ben cannot close out the game here.
See, Path to Exile,
so I can actually
Dispel, and Snapcaster.
Oh, but there's a Lightning Bolt.
Oh, wow. And now Ben Bateman just wins this game here.
That's
pretty.
pretty.
Game 3.
That's pretty awesome because we get game 3.
Yeah,
that's so
and
good.
Honestly, I do feel like this game really did come down for Ben. Came down to that decision on turn 1. Shows him the Lightning Bolt, and we are going to get a game 3 between Elves and Copycat combos.
Yeah, that was a great game.
A lot of really tough decisions there.
Right.
I thought the decision Ben made to kill one of the creatures that could attack him that turn, the Dwynen's Elite, and know that he had a turn to untap and kill Azuri.
Right, and choosing when to use your Teferi as well. What a close game. Yeah. And even in that turn, Ben could have, if he really was afraid of a potential Shaman of the Pack, he could have played Snapcaster Mage, cast Serum Vision, Scry, and then use the draw trigger on Teferi, because that would actually let you look at more cards to try to find a burn spell or a Lightning Helix or even a Saheeli.
Yeah, Lightning Helix is pretty interesting with the Shaman of the Pack. You get to take out one of those elves. You get to gain the 3.
Yep. Yeah, my guess is this is probably not a great matchup for the Elf deck. Deck with a bunch of sweepers, a bunch of great, cheap, efficient removal with Snapcaster Mage, and just X4s. He's got Restoration Angels and Wall of Omens, which kind of just brick walls the Elf deck, unless it's able to kind of stick one of its 3-mana threats. But those 3-mana threats, they just all get shot down by Lightning Bolts. You have the Archdruid and you have Azuri, and those cards are very powerful. But against a deck with just 10 removal spells, it's just not going to survive.
But you go back to game 1 from Jordan.
Right,
where he was just able to dump his entire hand onto the board on turn 2, and then by turn 4 had just attacked for enough and drained enough with the Shaman of the Pack.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The Elf deck can be very punishing. Jordan needs to get off to a very fast start. But if Ben, has a kind of a slower hand, let's say, his hand is with some Kiki-Jikis and some top-end stuff, Jordan might be able to just, push through being on the play.
Yeah, and heaven forbid you ever collected company for 2 Shamans.
Oh, yeah.
So this just in, Paul, message from Louis Scott Vargas. We've got you with us all day today, and then Saturday and Sunday it's Paul Rietzl. So in what ways would you say that's a strict upgrade?
Basically, probably in every way imaginable. He's a much better player. He's able to analyze boards much quicker than me. But
better looking?
No.
Okay,
yeah.
You're going to draw the line at that one. Okay. Yeah, so we are delighted, of course. We've got such a great lineup here this weekend. Brian, Paul, Luis, Gabby. I'm popping in every now and again. Lots of guests, lots of great Magic stories. And here we go with another great Magic story. Game 3 with Brian David Marshall and Paul Cheon.
Thanks, Rich. Yeah, Jordan Wines kicks things off here with an elf. And again, we see the fetch land on turn 1 from Ben Bateman. Do you expect a lightning bolt in his immediate future?
I expect a lightning bolt, and then the question is, what land do you get here? You know,
in this case, he's going to actually fetch Shock himself because he's a little further behind here, too, right? Because he's on the draw.
And, you know, this also tells me that, you know, he's a little more constrained on mana. I think in Game 2, he's like, I'm casting Serum Visions. That's going to help me, you know, kind of smooth out my draws, find whatever mana I need. And he could have had a few more lands. This tells me that he really does, you know, value having access to both blue and red mana.
Double elf. Red, white. There's the Wall of Omens.
Okay, so this is a big turn. You know, the coast is clear. Jordan Wines has access to, you know, potentially up to 5 mana here. So we can just play, for example, a Collected Company here, which I mean, this is a huge window here to resolve something big. Does he have it? Doesn't look like it. Okay. It's an Elvish Visionary, I believe.
Card
Promo.
you're well familiar with from your time with the elf deck.
Yes.
And there is
the MVP.
Wow. Throne of the God Pharaoh.
Look at that.
Take 2.
Didn't even miss damage. And the thing is, like, Ben's deck has a lot of spot removal, but he doesn't actually have a lot of great ways to deal with a Throne of God Pharaoh once it's resolved. He's got the Teferis, but that's it.
I think we're going to see.
Ooh, we might see a draw step Path to Exile.
Yeah, he's got 2 of them in hand.
But the thing is, like, Jordan can really cast whatever he wants at this point, so I don't think casting a Path to Exile does a whole lot here.
Well, I'm curious if Ben will actually, depending on his hand, Path to Exile his own land.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I think that might actually be a pretty good thing to do here because he is kind of behind on board. I could see him use Path to Exile on his own Wall of Omens to get that land.
And here you see Jordan is just continuing to play out cards. Dwynen's Elite makes 2 elves. He taps 2 elves to pay for it. And so that's going to be 2 damage, that 2 points of life that Ben will lose.
He really wants like a Heritage Druid or something to be able to tap
is this a Shaman of the Pack?
Oh, but no, that's an Azuri.
That's the Azuri. I think we found a new target for Path.
It's like, let me read this one. Okay, yeah, I don't want that to stay on the board.
Let's read it with him. And, you know, very dangerous when you have that Heritage Druid in play, which can help you make all that mana.
Yeah. Currently, he doesn't have a Heritage Druid, but he does have the 2 Llanowar Elves to go with the 3 lands, so he does have the ability to activate the ability to gigantify all of your elves. Well, he just chose not to cast it at all.
So this tells me that he's holding Wrath of God.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good call. Although, if you had Wrath of God, I might still have looked to path my land.
Yeah, maybe you want to path and get up to 5 lands here.
Right. But, you know, I saw Kiki Jiki and Ben Bateman's hand, so I might have wanted to path my Wall of Omens to get him out. At the same time, you know, holding on to Path to Exile against a creature deck is still not the worst, right?
Especially with the Throne in play.
Right.
So there's Dwynen's Elite. Not so elite right now, and Jordan is out of cards.
That's the Dwynen's Elite of sadness. Just no friends. No friends to the party.
There's a Wall of Omens. There's still a wall to path if we need to.
Yeah. A lot of white mana here. He's got that Kiki Jiki, so I could see him choose to use Path to Exile to fetch a mountain.
Celestial Colonnade was the land, so that's also something that if this game slows down, that card is very capable of closing things out for Ben while still maintaining path mana.
It's one of my favorite
Oh,
lands.
there's Lead the Stampede, and that's a card you talked about earlier.
Yeah, this.
And Ben's going to want to read that.
You have to look at, I believe, the top 5 cards.
Oh, yeah.
And put every creature that's revealed into your hand. And this deck is just all creatures.
Although maybe a little less so after sideboarding things like
it's possible.
Lead the Stampede in.
But 3 mana, draw 3, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's better than draw 3. You get
and
three,
there's a Heritage
spells.
Druid, a Nettle Sentinel, and I couldn't quite see what that last card was.
Right. So, that was nice. It did give Jordan a bunch of cards, but Ben does also, keep in mind, he does have 5 cards in hand, a lot of good answers. Free attack here with the Dwynen's Elite. You get that activation from the Throne of the God Pharaoh.
Yep. That's going to drop Ben to 11. And again, remember, not a ton of Wraths in Ben's board, but in Ben's deck, but he does have Snapcaster Mages to replay them.
And a second Kiki Jiki for Ben Bateman here, but he's very far away. His only red source is that Steam Vents that he has on the battlefield. He wants to get that going because, even copying a Wall of Omens every turn is pretty strong. He's also in that position now. I mean, he does have a couple of Path to Exiles in hand. He could just pass and keep up a bunch of mana. Ooh, what is this?
This is Teferi.
Okay. I didn't see that before, but that's nice.
And I think we may see a similar.
I think he's at a healthy enough life total where he's just going to go for the plus here.
There's a Logic Knot. Plays a land. He's going to get to untap 2. Still no additional red mana for him.
Right. But this does give him the option to have both Logic Knot and Path to Exile up.
Just to give you a sense of what's going on in the room, 4 minutes past time in the round, just 144 matches still going. So if you're watching the stream on your phone, you're thinking, I wonder if I've got time for a restroom
I wonder if I've got enough battery.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I always wonder when I'm watching the stream on my phone. All right, here's the Heritage Druid.
So Ben's got a removal spell. He might want to use it.
All right,
but
tap 3 elves.
I believe that's an Elvish Archdruid.
Okay, that was the third card that he pulled from his hand. You see him tapping all his mana, and there is Shaman of the Pack.
I think this one might get the Logic Knots.
Yeah, I think so.
It's my professional opinion here.
I think Knot says Ben Bateman.
Although he does have access to. Oh no, this is on the stack, so he can't actually tap.
Yeah, he can't.
Yeah. So this time he only just needs a Logic Knot for 1.
We are celebrating the 25th anniversary of Magic, but not that way.
Is there a wrong way to celebrate 25 years of Magic? Homelands Draft?
All right, here is the Logic Knot.
We do not speak of Homelands Draft.
Is that one of is that like on a wall or like on a little tapestry in R&D? We do not speak of
Secretly,
Homelands?
we drafted once every other week.
Wow.
Yeah.
From the safe.
The vault.
Yeah. That now has like 24 fewer beta packs in.
Yeah.
All right, so there's Path to Exile, taking out the Elvish Archdruid. The Shaman of the Pack was countered.
Yeah, and so Ben is going down to 8 here. But, he does have his answer to Throne of the God Pharaoh. He's got that Teferi on the board, but I think he's still thinking he's a little bit safe here. He might want to still dig for some red sources.
Still hoping, probably hoping that he could hold on to that Logic Knot for the throne, but...
Right. But you can't let that... that was like a Shaman for 6 or something like that. Yeah. Just more blue-white lands here.
Kiki flooded.
Yeah. All the Kikis and all the Colonnades.
That's nice. You do get to untap the Colonnade.
Right. Ooh, yeah, have enough mana, some offense and defense. Well, that is very expensive to activate.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Yeah, now it's not... again, Jordan doesn't have anything in hand. He's out of gas.
Yeah.
So putting that thing, 2 turns away, that becomes a problem for tomorrow.
And Teferi is not in harm's way at all here, because you might think, okay, well, Jordan's got 3 creatures on the board. He can attack with everything, but Ben has the ability to activate Celestial Colonnade to block. On top of that, he can choose to block and then cast Path to Exile on a non-block creature as well.
And by the way, that Nettle Sentinel, not untapping without a green spell to help it along the way.
Needs a green spell. Thinking a green spell might be coming here. Oh, nope. No green spell.
Wow, this is not going
this
to
is
work out well.
No.
Here you go. Celestial Colonnade, animated. It's going to get in the path.
Nom.
Wow, look at this. Yep. He just gets to eat.
Yeah, no need to Path to
The
Exile
Heritage
here.
Druid
No throne in play.
blocks the elite. I don't know what Jordan's pointing to. That Nettle Sentinel did not
Right. Did not
attack. It was already tapped.
Ooh, so that was not great, of course. Jordan did just lose one of his creatures. So,
Wow.
yeah, Ben is now in firm control here.
But look at the time.
Look at the time. Yeah, he
Oh, yeah. Ben has to figure out a way to win this game. Again, the Celestial Colonnades can close things out pretty quickly, but not that quickly.
Yeah, I don't think he's in a he's currently in a situation where he can actually activate Colonnade and have mana to play it on defense. So he does need to play a little bit quicker here, because
Wow.
is this? Are we in time now?
Yeah, we are in time. This is turn 0
Oh,
here.
okay. He does have the ability to try to find the combo here, but yeah, now he's like, all right, I got to start attacking here if I want to try to actually win the game. There's a lightning bolt there too.
Yep, and he has the red mana untapped. He's going to get to untap 2 lands.
Just as fans of the game, hasn't this round been great? Like, straight up, this has just been a fantastic hour of Magic.
So Jordan Wines is now on turn 1. That means he will get turns 1, 3, and 5. Ben Bateman only has 2 more turns to deal 16 points of damage or to assemble some infinite combo.
So that's 2 attacks with the Colonnade would bring Jordan down to 8, meaning that he would need 8 points of burn to finish off Jordan. So you can try to win in 2 different ways. Either you go with the Colonnade attack and try to find a bunch of burn spells, or try to find a Restoration Angel, Path to Exile your Wall of Omens, and get enough red sources to get the Kiki Jiki combo going. And a lot of that will be dictated based on what he finds off that Teferi Hero of Dominaria. I do see 1 Lightning Bolt in Ben Bateman's hand.
Yeah, also he's got 1 Lightning Bolt in the graveyard if we end up in Snapcaster Mage flashback territory.
Or
Right.
Snapcaster Mage, Restoration Angel territory, Kiki Jiki territory.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a Court of Calling. And that's going to untap Nettle Sentinel. And additionally, going to find something that will undoubtedly be troublesome for Ben Bateman.
Yeah, so he can choose to get, like, a reasonable thing to get here. It would be an Elvish Archdruid, because that would mean he would have 2 3-power attackers that can get the Teferi off the board. He could also maybe go for Shaman of the Pack and hope to just string together a bunch of those to get the win. And I wonder why Ben is looking to respond. I think you just let this resolve, because there's not a whole lot you can do. Even if he gets a Shaman of the Pack, Ben can then, with the trigger on the stack, use Path to Exile to get rid of one of the elves to only take 2 damage.
All right. So Jordan trying to figure out what he can do with his remaining pair of turns after this.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, we're on the Shaman plan here, the burn him out strategy.
So that will deal 3 to Ben Bateman, assuming nothing else changes.
Yeah. It could deal 2 if Ben chooses to use Path to Exile here with the trigger on the stack. You know, for example, using Path to Exile on one of the other 2 elves that can attack this turn means that he would go to 6 and then, you know, prevent some damage. But now it looks like he took an extra point of damage here, because I think he's still going to want to use Path to Exile on one of these creatures.
Unless he feels comfortable enough that he, you know, again, maybe, you know, we've talked about this idea of pathing his own creature. No, he's not going to do that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there was a point of damage that was missed. Yeah, because you don't want to go down to 3 life in this current situation, because Jordan does have a Cavern of Souls in play. So if he just top decks a Shaman of the Pack, that's just lethal.
Right. So now,
But
Wall of Omens can block the Nettle Sentinel.
Yeah, and I actually like Ben going for the win here. He had a Lightning Bolt that he could have used to get one of these creatures, but he's playing to put himself in a position to win this match. So he just goes end of turn, bolt you in the face, because I only have 1 red source. I need to use all the red mana, you know, to the best of my abilities. He has found an additional red source here in that Flooded Strand.
Right, that can go get a Steam Vents.
Right.
He also gets to dig for a card.
Yeah, I imagine that we got a Teferi plus here. And you know, this is big. Does he find a Restoration Angel?
Found another red source.
Okay. He's found another red source. Scalding Tarn. So now he can... Does he want to attack? I mean, are you just trying to go for Kiki-Jiki win here at this point? Or can you still get in with the Colonnade? So getting in with the Colonnade here puts Jordan down to 9. Another attack puts him down to 5. So if he finds, I guess, like Bolt plus Snapcaster, he could potentially get there.
Okay. So Jordan is going to fall to 9.
Yeah. And one thing that I actually, what I would have done here was I would have played the blue-white fetch land, because by playing the blue-white fetch land, you can get a Steam Vents, take 1 damage, and then on the following turn, if you really need that 3rd red source, you can use the Scalding Tarn to fetch for a basic mountain. Assuming he has a basic mountain.
Yeah, it looks like he does.
Yeah.
All right, so this is turn 3. Jordan has only now, each player has only 1 more turn after this current turn by Jordan to win the game. There's Horizon Canopy. That represents another draw.
I think really all Jordan's looking for is just like Shaman of the Packs. He's like, please, just Shaman of the Pack. That's what I need here. String some together. Lead the Stampede would be good too.
Collected Company, not terrible.
That would not.
But
not
instead,
be bad.
it is it's just an elf.
Yeah, and he can attack because Ben doesn't have access to the Colonnade activation here, so he can choose to attack. He could choose to attack Ben down to 3, right?
And it looks like that's what he's doing. Ben moves the turn die out of the way. Wow, this is really tense.
This is super close. And if if Ben is looking to go for the win, I could even see him like block with the Wall of Omens, path it, get a mountain, you know, to maybe try to go for like Restoration Angel plus Kiki-Jiki all in the same turn. How much mana would he have? 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He would have 9, so he would be able to do that. But of course, you know, he's only really got 2 draws at doing that with the Teferi Hero of Dominaria.
It looks like he is going to play it safe here and path the Nettle Sentinel.
Yeah,
because again, he can play for the win, but he can also say, well, you know what, I don't want to lose here. A draw is still better than a loss for me.
Right, and by doing this, even if he cracks the fetch land, he goes down to 4 life. If Jordan top decks a Shaman of the Pack, that would only put him down to 1. So now Ben's in a situation where, you know, even if Jordan top decks Shaman of the Pack, it's you know, he's not going to lose the game here.
All right, so there's the Steam Vents.
And I guess also, by the way, if he just somehow finds the win, he can still fetch and go down to 1, find another red Shockland to go for the the Kiki-Jiki plus either Felidar Guardian or Restoration Angel.
Wow.
So he's got a couple of draws. He's got that Teferi on the board. So he could just find it. He's got 5 cards in his deck that he's looking for here. 5 cards and 2 draws.
He already has the Kiki-Jiki. He has 2 of them, in fact.
Here we go, turn 4.
This is Ben Bateman's last turn to win the game.
Are we gonna find a Are we gonna find a Restoration Angel or a Felidar Guardian here?
That looks like a fetch land. Now, do you?
I don't think in my deck, because then that puts you dead to Shaman of the Pack.
Okay.
Yeah, you just draw and see if you draw something, and nope.
Dispel.
So at this point, Ben has to play
for the draw.
For the draw. He has to hope not to lose to a top deck Shaman of the Pack here.
If he really wants to go for the win, I don't think it's a correct play. He can play Kiki-Jiki, copy Wall of Omens, and if he finds Restoration Angel or Felidar Guardian, he can still win. But but I think
this might be what he's doing.
Okay. Okay.
He's at 1.
But he's at what? Like, wait, hold on. Is he gonna just? Does he have a removal spell in hand to defend against? Oh, he can untap. Okay, so he's gonna have a Wall of Omens in play along with the ability to block with Celestial Colonnade, because Teferi can untap 2 lands.
Right.
So if he taps 5 mana, he can play Kiki-Jiki, and then he will still have mana to activate Colonnade and have Wall of Omens up, meaning that he can block both of the creatures on the battlefield. So Jordan can still win with the top deck Shaman of the Pack, right? He can still win with the Collected Company, but Ben is now trying to put himself in a situation to win on turn 4 by copying that Wall of Omens and just having that one additional draw at Felidar Guardian or Restoration Angel. He's
still a Dispel in hand for Ben, so he's really just on Shaman of the Pack here.
Right.
Wow, look at this. This is okay. What could happen here if I play
You've
this?
committed. You've already fetched and shocked. Play your Kiki Jiki. There's no take backsies at this point.
All right, here we go. Red. Kiki Jiki.
All right.
The Mirror Breaker.
Here he goes.
The tiebreaker, possibly.
All right.
He's going to copy
Do
Wall
it.
of Omens.
Do it. You can untap. You have the block available here.
Wow.
I like this. Just going for it. Just go for
He
it.
passes the turn.
A Shaman of the Pack off the top will do it. Lead the Stampede would also do it because Ben is holding a Dispel. Oh, Elvish Visionary gives you an additional draw here. He can still find something. Don't think it was a Shaman of the Pack.
Yeah. You think he might? Oh, but it might be a Collected Company.
Oh, but this is getting countered.
Oh, absolutely. There's the Collected Company.
Yeah.
There's the Dispel. And in come the creatures.
Oh, we get to see the card.
Oh, yeah.
We get to see the card. That's all I wanted to see. That is all I wanted to see.
So if this card he draws is Restoration Angel or Felidar Guardian,
what was that? I don't.
It's a
I don't
blue.
think-
it looks like a blue card.
All right.
Now he gets to block both of these. And we are not going to get satisfaction here. Handshake. And that is a draw between Ben Bateman and Jordan Wines.
What a match.
Wow, that was crazy.
And the crowd behind us here at the booth applauded for what they just watched on our monitor.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That is the first time I think that's happened this
I mean,
year.
there's so
That's
much back and
great.
forth, though. It was so close. And there were just so many opportunities where either player could have drawn a card to win that game.
Right.
Okay.
But you're saying Ben could have gone for that there and still not been dead.
Exactly. He could have gone for it, gone down to 1, look for the card, still have Wall of Omens plus Celestial Colonnade as the double blocker up, and he could have gone for it. But it is a little bit risky if he does play that Court of Calling, the Collected Company.
All right, it's almost the end of the round. We're out of here, and we'll be back after these short messages. Right, everyone, welcome back. It's time for more Magic, says the man in the wizard hat behind us. Go on, give us a wave. Give us a wave. We're looking at you. There we are. Good man. It's just like college game day.
Yeah.
More of that later. Maybe we'll get some preview cards behind us, something like that. Anyway, we'll see what happens. But it's time for more Magic. Let's get back down to the feature match area. We're going to go back to the start, show you game 1 of Ryan Brent against Joel Mick. And with the call, here's Brian David Marshall and Paul Cheam.
Thanks, Rich. Paul, Ryan's playing Affinity with Karn. Deck we just saw, if you were looking at the deck list that we're sort of rotating through. This is a deck he plays a lot on Magic Online, says he really likes it. Likes the addition of Karn to really help power this deck up. Joel Mick, of course, we talked earlier, one of the original designers of Magic, and no shock to see him have these old school Tron lands here.
Oh, yeah.
And he is playing, you said, Eldrazi Tron.
Yeah, so we got the classic Eldrazi Tron against the other colorless deck that people play in Affinity. And Eldrazi Tron, I think, is kind of a dog in this matchup. I'm looking at All is Dust.
So that's a card they really lean on in this matchup? Or in aggressive matchups?
Yeah, in most mid-range to aggressive matchup, that is a card that does a lot of work. But, of course, in this matchup, it doesn't really do a whole lot. And, yeah, I'm really interested to see how this Karn plays out. I think it's actually, it's very, very cool. The fact that you can actually just pump out creatures that let you go over the top of, creatures that sometimes just, brick wall you. You're like, you know what? My creature's bigger than your Gurmag Angler. My creature's just bigger than your Tarmogoyf. Doesn't matter, So, I mean, it's a little bit on the slower side, and Affinity wants to be fast, but it looks like Ryan opted to cut some of the 3-mana threats that a lot of the Affinity decks have been playing. Of course, cards like Edge Champion and Master of Ethereum, and, go a little bit higher up the curve for Karn.
Yeah, and Karn really exists in a sweet spot because it also gives you a little bit of that velocity that you didn't have, these decks have lost. They don't play Thoughtcast necessarily anymore, so you don't have that ability to draw extra cards, and Karn also does that when you need it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Thoughtcast is a nice card, but oftentimes, you have a lot of cards in your deck that are, they work well together, but, sometimes you play Thoughtcast and you draw like a land Ornithopter, you're like, come on, man. When you draw the Karn in play, you're just guaranteed to get value out of that Karn. That Karn is going to give you 2 5/5s or 2 6/6s and put it on the battlefield. I think very rarely you actually plus that Karn to get card advantage.
Right, Ryan Brent going a different school here, though. He's got the Arcbound Ravager in play alongside his Steel Overseer.
Yeah.
And Joel is a turn away from what we like to call assembling the Tron.
Yeah.
And when you assemble the Tron, that means you have 3 lands in play, and you are making 7 mana.
Yeah, and this is a very slow start from Ryan. I mean, I saw the Darksteel Citadel in the Mox Opal and thought he was going to have a pretty explosive turn. But the fact that he only has 2 creatures on the board, I mean, you really, Affinity is capable of killing people on up to, turn 4, but this is one of those slower hands. And if you give the Eldrazi Tron deck time, it will, of course, its late game is just far, far superior. And the fact that Joel is actually able to find that Tron on turn 3, which is far less likely in this deck, by the way. Turn 3 Tron in this deck just doesn't happen nearly as often because you only have Expedition Map as your way to fetch out your Tron lands. When you talk about traditional Tron lists, you're playing cards like Ancient Stirrings and Sylvan Scrying to help you do it. So every time my Eldrazi Tron opponent gets Tron on turn 3, I'm a little sad.
Now, what are the payoffs here for assembling the Tron from Joel Mick? I mean, are we going to see Karn liberated? Are we going to see Karn on both sides of the table?
No, actually, no. Yeah, you could see Karn liberated. I could also see a card like Wormcoil Engine. Walking Ballista could also be interesting. And this is...
Is that an Oblivion Stone?
Yeah, that is... No, I don't think that's an Oblivion. Is that a Chalice of the Void?
Oh, that's... Okay, yeah, Chalice of the Void.
Wait. Did he play Mind Stone after Chalice for 2?
Oh, no!
Oh, no!
Oh, your Mind Stone's countered by your own Chalice. A little bit of a...
hiccup.
And there is Galvanic Blast, and going to take a little bit of life total there away from Joel.
I mean, and Ryan's got to be breathing a huge sigh of relief. Like, your opponent played Tron and played a Mind Stone and a Chalice for 2. That just tells you that Joel just has no actual threats in his hand.
So when people talk about sequencing, Paul, is that kind of what they mean? Like, maybe... a different order would have been better?
Perhaps, yeah.
Okay. So here's Signal Pest from Ryan Brent. Plays the Signal Pest, activates the Steel Overseer, puts a counter on everything, and now is attacking for 4 with the Ravager. And, we start to get to that scary point of the game where you start to talk about Ravager math.
Yeah, Ravager math, you know, you get to the point where you kind of add up all your artifacts, figure out exactly how many lands you need for the types of threats that you might still be able to draw. Traditionally, the magic number is 3. You can usually sack all your mana sources, but you want to still give yourself the option of drawing your 3-mana threat or Cranioplating plus equip. But Ryan's deck is also playing Karn, so it makes it a little bit more difficult. Ryan is holding a Cranioplating in hand, but that Chalice actually doing some work. It's already done some work, of course, countering that Mind Stone, but it actually will prevent Ryan from playing that Cranioplating.
Here we see a Ghost Quarter. Again, only 2 lands in play for Ryan.
Yeah.
He's got that Springleaf Drum down there in with his lands.
Yeah, but Joel, again, I mean, Joel's top end, like, again, you look at older version, look at the more traditional versions of Tron, they have access to 4 copies of Oblivion Stone. This version of the Tron deck has 0. So
there's a Reality Smasher.
And that's just going to be smaller than everything else that you see.
Wait, this is what you talked about.
Right. The Signal Pest has evasion. Ryan has an active Steel Overseer, and that Ravager is already a 3/3. It's going to go up to 4/4, and all Ryan needs to do is sacrifice 2 artifacts to get that Ravager to a 6/6.
And then can sack the Ravager if he needed at some point later, and move that onto the Signal Pest, which isn't blockable.
Right.
So here we see a Mox.
Oh,
and the Mox is going to get sacrificed to the Ravager. It's going to put a 4th counter on the Ravager.
I'm assuming there's another Mox coming in.
Yeah, here's another Mox. Tap the Mox.
3-mana threat here.
Yep.
A card that I imagine gets sideboarded out against Eldrazi Tron. Etch Champion, protection from all colors, but not colorless.
And is that going to resolve? And in come the 2 creatures. You still have Steel Overseer here.
Yeah, and at this point, we like you said.
And by the way, that Ravager's attacking for
5.
a little extra because of the Signal Pests.
Yeah, the Battle Cry.
Battle Cry.
Yeah, so the Arcbound Ravager is currently a 5/4, and Ryan also has the Steel Overseer to activate the Ravager.
So that's 6, and that's 8, and that's going to drop Joel down to 5. By the way, also got that Etch Champion.
Yeah, so that's 6, 7, 8. And if he sacks all of his other artifacts, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be 12 damage. So he's actually 1 short of lethal here.
Wow.
Oh, wait, is that a Darksteel Citadel? No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
He does have a Darksteel Citadel.
So it would be lethal. It would have been lethal, but that does kind of leave you a little vulnerable to a card like Dismember.
Now Karn Liberated has decided to make its appearance.
Right. Not so great, though, with an Arcbound Ravager on the battlefield. Joel can use the Karn Liberated to get, that Ravager off the board, but then Ryan's going to have a gigantic Signal Pest.
And maybe he has to get the Signal Pest off the board here.
And just block. But now, Joel's down to 5 life. So basically everything is lethal.
Yeah. So he does activate Karn. He points it at the Ravager. Ravager's going to get sacrificed in response, and those 5 counters can go wherever Ryan wants onto his other creatures. And by the way, he doesn't have to content himself with just 5 counters. He could also sack a Darksteel Citadel or a Springleaf Drum.
Yeah. So now, you might think, oh, the easy play is just to put everything on the Signal Pest, but maybe he's like minorly concerned about a Dismember. But then that would put Joel down to 1. So then that's just lethal on board. So yeah, he is just putting everything on the Signal Pest here. And that should be the game.
All right. Says they agree. Yep. And Joel scoops him up. Says, yep, nope, I can't block that, even if I wanted to. And that is going to be game 1 to Ryan Brent. All right. And here we see game 2. And there's that Expedition
one of those
map.
I tell you what, do you know the definition of an optimist? It's someone who goes, I think pairings will be up soon, why don't we play this a bit faster? That's obviously a lie. It's going to be another hour. But why don't we play this a little faster, Rashad? How about twice the speed? Let's do twice the speed. See what happens.
So there is Ornithopter. Is this the one natural home for the Ornithopter in Magic?
Yes, definitely. There was a little time where it actually saw some standard play. Of course, we had that Insola Artifact deck that get people for 5 in the air. But so this is one of those things where even after sideboard, you have the Eldrazi Tron deck has kind of not the best options. Most colors have really, really great artifact hosers, but when you're just looking at colorless cards, not so much. I mean, you have Ratchet Bomb, which is like a reasonable card, but nothing to the level of something like a Stony Silence, Kataki, cards of that caliber.
Wow. Rashad,
There you see a signal past.
Rashad, please, just press pause. Just hold it still. We can't let the game go on any further because someone has just broken chat. TJ Lupinek, the most original thing I've ever seen in a chat room, has just come in and gone, there are 4 first names in this feature match. That's cool. Ryan, Brent, Joel, Mick. Right there. Just glory in that. How awesome is that?
Anytime I've been in the
BDM
feature
has
match
3
area, I
first
have 3 first names just by myself.
Yeah.
Unless my opponent's named McGregor, I'm automatically at 4.
McGregorson. Yeah.
Okay, you can carry on with the match now, Rashad. They were less impressed than I was.
Ooh, there is that Ratchet Bomb.
Okay.
But currently, Ryan has a nice mix here where he's got a 0, 1, and a 2, so it's not doing a ton. But, being able to Ratchet Bomb up to 2 is pretty strong against Affinity. A lot of the power cards are 2 mana, Cranial Plating, Ravager, and the Steel Overseer.
Right now you see Signal Pest. Oh, look at this.
Yep.
Animate my Nexus.
And the Ratchet Bomb will not be able to get that Inkmoth Nexus off the board because it only gets non-land permanents.
And then we get a little bit of boost across the board here from the Signal Pest.
Ooh, we might see a potential poison victory here. Joel just took 3.
Wow, 3 poison. Yeah. That adds up very quickly.
And he's got another Inkmoth Nexus on the battlefield here too, to go with the Signal Pest and that Steel Overseer. So what are we looking at here? Next turn, that's 3, 4, 5. That's 7 points. That's just lethal. If Ryan just plays a land, he can. If Ryan just plays a land,
wow,
he can just activate both the Nexuses, attack with the Signal Pest, use the Battlecry trigger and the Steel Overseer to attack for 7. So Joel might actually need to pop this Ratchet Bomb for 1 to get that Signal Pest off the board.
So he can die to poison a turn later.
Right.
Okay. Just checking.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
that's all right then.
All right. Once again, we have, I believe, Assembletron.
Yeah, and that's also the way that Affinity, like most of my turn 3 Affinity kills have involved some combination of Ravager, Inkmoth Nexus, and just sacrificing everything and getting in for 10 poison.
Yeah, Signal Pest putting in some work here. Was letting the Ornithopter attack earlier. There's the Reality Smasher. And it's just going to smash. I think Joel sees the writing on the wall here.
Is he not using the Ratchet? Is he just hoping for the no land here? Right, so 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just making sure I'm running the number 7. Yeah, that's 7.
Yeah, 4 and
Yeah.
3. This one got in for 3. This turn it would get in for 4 next turn. The other one would get in for 3. And that would be 10
Yep.
poison right there.
And there's the land.
In fact, it's a 3rd Nexus.
Yeah. And that is really a huge draw to playing this Affinity deck. You have so many just creature lands. Like, it is pretty hard to get flooded with this deck because you always have something to do with your mana.
All right. So now what would prevent Ryan from, I guess, from pulling this trigger here?
Gut shot, maybe? Whoa, what is he doing?
He's gonna. Are we gonna see a Karn? Yes.
Yeah, I respect this. I mean, he had lethal, but I respect, you have lethal, but come on. You can play, you're pretty, I guess you can just play Karn. Why not?
Right. Ryan Brent's like, hey, I hear you like Karn. Let me show you this new Karn. It's been made in the last 25
He's
years.
just playing around gut shot, I think. Yeah.
He's like, yeah.
So what does this do? All right, so he's going to be able to make a 4/4 construct here, which will get, of course, which also just scales with all the artifacts you have. So when you activate all your Nexuses, it just continues to grow.
By the way, that's a pretty nice pre-release promo Karn.
Ooh.
So that came in somebody's pre-release deck. And you don't. It's not like the old days where you used to get everyone would get the same one.
Right.
So there's a construct.
A Karnstruct, nice. And yeah, so now he can still attack with his evasive creatures. Like, he can still get in with Signal Pest and the Ornithopter and activate the Steel Overseer to get in for 5 damage here.
Yeah, he is activating the Steel Overseer. So that construct is huge.
Yeah, it is a 5/5 currently.
All right. Signal Pest down.
Oh, of course. Okay,
right,
so
that's why he didn't want to.
Yeah, that is on me. I missed that. The Ratchet Bomb was on 1, so he did not in fact have lethal. If Ryan chose to activate both of the Nexuses, Joel would have activated the Ratchet Bomb. Although that still puts him in a position where, of course,
just dead next turn.
It's still a 2-turn clock. But
yeah.
he chose to take a more conservative route here with the Karn. Although now, like, the Karn is kind of vulnerable here, right? Like, Joel can just attack with the Reality Smasher, and the construct here is currently a 4/4. So then Joel gets to basically, I think, just eat that Karn for free. And if he has another ground creature to follow it up here.
That's a Sanctum of Ugin there for Joel Mick. So what does that unlock for him?
Well, if he's got a big card, a lot of great cards he can look for. You know, you have cards like Wormcoil Engine. I could also see him just get like a...
or is that... I'm sorry, it might be...
I think that's the Sanctum of Ugin. Yeah.
Okay.
He could get something like a Walking Ballista, right? But a lot of Ryan's creatures are kind of gigantic, but getting a Walking Ballista does give Joel a little more protection against those Nexuses that are on the board.
All right, so Matter Reshaper is the play after the Reality Smasher takes down Karn.
Right.
And a second Matter Reshaper, and a third Matter Reshaper. Joel Mick just empties his hand.
Right. So now Ryan's going to go with the Infect plan here.
And Joel's still vulnerable to the evasive creatures. I mean, you know.
Yeah, this is still a 2-turn clock. Ryan can just activate both the Nexuses and a Steel Overseer, attack twice, and that should be the game. And now he found a third Inkmoth Nexus. So what he can do now is activate all 3 Inkmoth Nexuses. Sure, one of them will be tapped, but the one that he just played, which has Summoning Sickness, he can activate as well and put a +1/+1 counter on all 3 of his Inkmoth Nexuses to further ensure victory on the following turn.
Can also pump other Nexuses with it.
Right. So yeah, here I can definitely see Ryan activate the... Oh no, he activated the Steel Overseer, so he might have a 1-drop to play here.
All right, just
okay.
Gets in. He's going to put... I mean, Joel's dead next turn. He's on 8, in fact.
Right.
Can he find 15 points of damage here?
Like, would a Reality Smasher do it? I don't even think so. Yeah, Reality Smasher wouldn't do it because that's 10 damage. Ryan can block both of the Matter Reshapers or even the Reality Smasher, take 13, go to 2.
Now, it's going to start with something along the lines of a Reality Smasher.
Yeah, and one reason I can see for Ryan choosing not to activate the Inkmoth Nexus is he has the ability to activate the Inkmoth Nexus on his turn, which would pump the Construct. And the Construct is currently a 3/3 with 2+1/+1 counter, so it's a 5/5. If he activates a Nexus, it would be a 6/6, which would make it so that he could cleanly block the Reality Smasher.
I think that's what's going to happen here. Gets to put an Ornithopter in the way of one of the Matter Reshapers. Takes 6.
Yeah,
cleanly block the Smasher.
Yeah, and the only thing I'd be really scared about here, if I'm in Ryan's situation, is like, how can I not die to a Walking Ballista? So how am I blocking here so I don't get low enough? Like, for example, if he just takes 8, does Joel have the mana to play, you know, a 7/7 Walking Ballista for lethal, which I don't think he has the mana to.
Oh wow, look at this. Ryan is not going to block the Reality Smasher at all.
Okay.
Just takes the clean blocks. He's going to go to 7 here.
Right. So what happens if Joel like flips over like in Urza's Tower and a Walking Ballista? Like that's 6, 10, 12 mana. So that's a Ballista for 6.
Yeah, I'm not sure that. Yeah. Not sure that construct is supposed to be dead.
Well. Yeah, it had 2 counters on it, so it was a 5/5, right?
Yeah. Yep. That may be what they're talking about here, but yeah, he's going to flip.
I don't think it's going to matter. Oh, wait.
Flip.
He hit the Urza's Tower, too. Okay.
And gets another Reality Smasher. Yeah, the construct's still alive there.
Yeah, and I think we're going to... We're going to end the game via infect.
Yeah, Joel is going to, not recover from the fatal disease. No one ever does. And Affinity gets the win here and is off to a 2-0 start for Ryan Brent.
Okay, so let's bring it back to the booth with the news that Ryan Brent has won. And I can tell you, we've broken the system because we have now shown you all of the magic. And pairings are still not up. So not quite sure what's going on. Everyone behind us is still... Wait, we've got more magic, Rashad? We can show them more... Look at that. The things we do for you. Just before we do that, I have a very important question.
Yes, sir.
Things are running slowly. Neither of you live here in Vegas, do you?
No.
But let's say we're out of here at like 9:30. Would anything still be open?
No, it closes very early here.
Yeah, people
very
don't like
quiet.
to go out here.
Yeah.
It's a little rough, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going straight to my room and going to bed, if you're wondering.
I am actually going straight to my room and going to bed, but there
we are.
I know that
I am not.
Okay. All right, so what we're going to do, apparently we've got even more magic to show you. Go on then, get back to the start of round 2 again. Here we go. It's Levi Ostwald against David Oberlin. Brian, Paul.
Levi Oswalt works in a game store at Ease Games. He plays a lot of Magic. And David Oberlin is the keyboardist for the band Korn.
Wow.
He's a guitar player by trade, plays whatever he needs to in the bigger bands. He watches Corbin's videos every week, by the way, and Corbin is pretty geeked out about it.
Wow.
So that is a pretty exciting result there. And then what's this matchup?
All right, so we got David Oberlin also on Eldrazi Tron, and we have Levi Oswalt on the red-black Goryo's Vengeance deck.
Oh, wow. That's not a deck we have talked about at all this weekend yet.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of people who are looking to kind of go with the graveyard-based deck have been choosing to go with Hollow One oftentimes. But this deck is certainly very, very explosive, and you can win as early as turn 2 if you can get turn 1 Faithless Looting into turn 2 Goryo's Vengeance with Gristlebrand. So this is actually the Gristlebrand deck, if you will.
Okay.
It's playing.
I will actually do that.
Yeah. It's got Gristlebrand, it's got Nourishing Shoal, and it's got Borbo Rigmos Enraged. And the way this deck looks to win is, get that Gristlebrand onto the battlefield, draw a bunch of cards, use Nourishing Shoal in conjunction with Worldspine Worm to gain 15 life.
Oh, yeah.
And then, or not 15, gain a bunch of life, and then do it again. And then basically draw through your whole deck, and then get Borbo Rigmos Enraged onto the battlefield. Then with, basically the entire deck in your hands, fling all your lands at your opponent to kill them.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Here we see a Walking Ballista out of Dave Oberlin for 1. And that doesn't stack up very well against the likes of early game Gristlebrands. Right.
Yeah, this is probably a rough matchup. Unless David has something like main deck Relic of Progenitus, it's going to be pretty tough. The Tron decks do play 4 copies of Chalice of the Void, so that could be very interesting. If you can somehow get a Chalice of the Void out for 2 before Levi can go off.
How about a Reality Smasher? Get in for 6 here.
Or a turn 3 Reality Smasher.
Temple, I think that's Tower.
Yeah. I mean, that is the one issue with this deck, is that it's a bit inconsistent. You just kind of need all your cards to line up, and when they don't, you basically do nothing.
I definitely like the idea that the keyboarders from Korn is just playing Reality Smasher and just like getting into the red zone. But here we see.
Oh wow, we are digging here.
Desperate Ritual to flash back.
A truly desperate ritual.
Yeah, this is the most desperate of rituals.
And I don't think he found that Gristlebrand. Yeah, and the thing is, like, even if you don't get Gristlebrand, you can just find a Whirlspine Worm, use Goryo's Vengeance, and what Goryo's Vengeance says is that, at the end of turn, sacrifice a creature, and the Whirlspine Worm, when it dies, it gives you 3 5/5s.
Oh.
So that's an alternate win condition. But it looks like he's just found 0 big creatures to get back with that Goryo's Vengeance.
Wow. All right, and he is up against it. David Oberlin firmly on the board with that turn 3 Reality Smasher. Just playing all the mana accelerating lands here.
Right.
And he comes in. He's going to pump his Walking Ballista, put another counter on it, get in for 7. That drops Levi to 6.
Oh, my mistake. Goryo's Vengeance gets back legendary creatures, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can only through the breach it.
Yeah. And
I haven't seen this deck in so long, I just kind of forgot how the deck works, but...
There you go.
So
and that is game 1.
So we just got some beatdowns?
Yeah, David Oberlin just beat down with Reality Smasher.
Whoa, what is this?
A turn 1 Blood Moon from Levi Oswald, discarding 2 Simian Spirit Guides, and David Oberlin can do nothing but play a mountain.
The Eldrazi Tron actually just cannot play spells. Like, all of their big... or it's really hard. He can play like a Walking Ballista, I guess.
Well,
oh, no.
He can play a Mind Stone.
Never mind. He's found the colorless source. But Blood Moon is incredibly powerful as it just shuts down all of their
by the way, Levi Oswald went to go sack his Bloodstained Mire.
Nope.
And David Oberlin was like, hey.
Yeah.
Corbin told me you can't do that.
He was super excited with that turn 1 Blood Moon. It's a little bit interesting, actually, because I don't think you necessarily need the turn 1 Blood Moon. You could have done the turn 2 Blood Moon, because there's not a whole lot David can play on turn 2 outside of maybe a Matter Reshaper.
Thought Not Seer comes down.
Wow, that big Mind Stone.
And look at this hand from Levi Oswald. Another Blood Moon. Is that 2 Gristlebrand's and a World
Yeah, where were those Gristlebrand's in the first game?
Yeah.
Yeah, and at this point, I mean, Levi just has nothing. He needs to find a Faithless Looting quick.
Wow. And David Oberlin has just not even flinched at this Blood Moon, just still gets to play a huge fatty on turn 4 here. And that is going to be a clock that Levi Oswald's going to be up against.
Yeah, I mean, every time somebody beats a Blood Moon, an Angel gets its wings.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
which Angel, though?
Let's go with Lyra Dawnbringer.
Oh, yeah, you like that one, don't you?
That's a good one. Although I guess she already has wings.
Well, you can get a second set of wings.
Ooh, second set of wings?
Could be like Rorik's Dawnbringer.
Ooh, double flying new mechanic?
Yeah.
Get enough people to push for it. Maybe I'll bring it up. David Oberlin played a Spatial Contortion for max damage there, attacking for 7 with Thought Not Seer.
He just bloodlusted there?
That +3, -3. Wow. And is this a Reality Smasher? Nope.
No, nothing but mountains. Again, that Blood Moon hampered both players here. Well, Levi really can't do anything even if he had access to the black mana at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the funny thing. I mean, this is a deck that does not require any colored mana. I mean, the Blood Moon hoses you in terms of getting the fast mana.
Yeah, the thing is, if David does not have Mind Stone, it is really difficult for David to play a lot of his spells. Like,
wow.
Oftentimes, I mean, if you get to the point where your opponent is just hard casting a turn 6 Wormcoil Engine, then you've just drawn poorly. Like, you haven't, executed your game plan. So this is kind of what Levi wanted, but he just couldn't find anything.
Wow, David Oberlin, the keyboardist from Korn, he wins the match 2-0, and he goes to 2-0 here with Eldrazi Tron, playing through a turn 1 Blood Moon from the Gristlebrand deck.
Yeah, fantastic. Well done to Korn and keyboard players everywhere. We like that. Good stuff. So Rich, BDM, and Paul behind us. Thousands of people waiting patiently or even impatiently for round number 3. I was just going
to say patiently might be optimistic.
So look, there is an issue in the room. We're struggling to get the next round paired. We don't have an ETA of precisely when round 3 is going to happen. So what we're going to do, we're going to take our customary ad break at the end of the round. But then we're actually going to send you back to the start of round 1, which is only a round. So we're going to send you back to the start of round 1, and then as soon as we have more information, we'll interrupt that replay to tell you what's going on. And of course, as soon as we're having a round 3 to show you, Luis, Gabby will be here with round 3. So don't go anywhere, and we'll see you in just a little bit. See you in a bit.